All right. Hi, everybody. This is our Arts for All little drawing session, and we'll have a little fun today. We're going to do some character art, and I'm going to show you how to break down a couple of drawings in shapes, and then you can take them a little further if you'd like and color them. First thing, maybe what we should do is I have the our first drawing on the screen. Maybe if you can take a screenshot of them just so you have a copy of it and you could probably get it from the office of the school as well. But just take a screenshot for the moment, just so you have a copy of it and the color reference. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the image and I'm going to take the opacity down so we can draw on top of it and just analyze it a little bit. So let me get my pen tool going here and see if it's working. Okay. So let's look at this image of this lion, and what we're going to do, we're just going to talk about how to sketch it out first. So the first thing we always want to do is to keep it really sketchy. So I'm going to actually take down the opacity on my pen tool so it's really light. So this is kind of how I'd like you to do it as well. I'd like you to just start just really sketchy it very lightly as we draw the character, and that way when we get the really nice sketch in, then we can come in and draw on top of it with a more definitive line, or lion in this case. Anyway, so let's look at this, what we're drawing, and it's a very funny drawing. I think what's funny about it is you've got this big head on this lion, and then you've got him looking at the top at this little butterfly. We'll do that as well. But the funny thing is, if you look at like his where he's seated, he's on this very precarious kind of rock formation. So it makes it like a fun little drawing. So let's just start looking at it. And usually when I start, in fact, off to the side here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick little analysis of how we're going to get this thing going first, and then we'll do it together. So off to the side, I'm just going to do this drawing where I have what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to do a very big shape for the lion's head. And then we're going to come in and create like this kind of long shape for his body. And then we'll come in and then we'll put the little limbs on. And then his legs back here like that. So it's just very, very simple shapes. And that's how we're going to start it. So the first thing I want to do is the first major shape again is this kind of shape for his mane. So I want to just come in and create kind of like, it's almost kind of block like. So it can be as simple as something like that, just kind of a shape like that. So it kind of has a little bit of a side point, like if I was to divide that in half, you'd see that that's where we're going to pull out this side of the mane, kind of out like that. And of course, that push would be kind of, this is half and this is half. So that comes right down through the middle. The other thing that we're looking at here is the head is not straight. He's turned a little bit. So I want to indicate that my head is going to be turning this way. So I'm going to be seeing more of this side than that side. So again, that's what I have so far. This is indicating the middle of the mane, and this line here is indicating the direction that the head is turned. So we'll come and we'll finish the head off in a second, but let's get the rest of the body on. So I want to make sure I actually see this distance here on the lion. So I want to come in here and I just want to create this kind of back part for his rear legs, kind of coming in like that. And then I'm just going to go right across here and put in just the basic shape for the body. So that looks something like that. So I have it. If I was to draw through this, this would just actually be coming up a little bit under halfway on the main, and it pulls out a little bit. And it's got like a little bit of a short, steep here, and then it comes down really quickly like that for the back of his body. And then we have his legs, his front legs coming forward. Let me get a little bit closer so you can see this. So what's happening here is a lot of the details would be covered up by the mane here, but just for our construction, as we have here, you can see that the center of the mane or the center of the head, where we're turning the head, is going to lead us kind of into where the paws are. And the top of the paw or the leg is going to be covered by the mane, but I still need to construct this. So I'm just going to come in and create this kind of shape, a short shape here where it's connecting to the body. And then this is going to pull down and it gets wider as it comes down and pulls out a little bit like that. So this actually can be broken down into 3 pieces. So we got the part coming here. This is pushing out and pulling down this way a little bit. So we got the fore part of the paw, and then the paw itself gets wider as it comes down to the bottom like that. So again, this is our construction so far. So again, just for the sake of understanding where a paw is connecting to, just so I can understand that it's coming out of that shape there, I want to see it like that. And it kind of looks a little bit like a pipe, I know. It's kind of coming forward. It's pulling down. And then we're going to have where the claws are and the toes down like that. So it's kind of doing something like that, a little bit wider. This is actually the widest part. This is pulling down, you know, because he would have a lion would have a big paw. So they're emphasizing that there. Now off to the side here, we have the other paw. Again, let me go in a little bit closer so you can see this. Let me get rid of my construction line so you can see this here too. So I've got what we've already established here was that where he's lying down. And then I'm going to pull this part of the body out. This is very short because it's what we call foreshortened. It's kind of, we're looking at an angle where to give the impression that it's coming toward us, it's a little bit shorter. And then this paw is a little bit longer here. So again, we have the top part and the bottom part where the toes are coming down back. Again, it's going to get wider at the toe part to kind of emphasize how lions have those big paws. Kind of funny. In cartoons, you want to exaggerate things and make them kind of large and clunky and full. And it makes the character look a little cuter, actually, have the big paws. All right, let me zoom out now so you can see where we are that way. So really what I'm trying to do basically is get all the big shapes in before we do any of the details of the face. I want to set up the whole drawing before we put in the details. Okay, so now we got the back of this body. And again, we have like this haunt shape just going at an angle. And it's almost like a rounded off triangle. Almost looks like a mountain or something coming away from us like that. So that's that shape, like that. And then again, let me again go on a little bit tighter for you so you can see it. We have, if I'm going to break down the shape of the foot, it's kind of coming around, pulling down. There's an angle this way, and then it's going to be laying down on the top of that rock like that. And then we could just see the toes are kind of going away from us. So this is the biggest one, the center one. The one farthest away from us is the smallest one. And then we come back here and look at these as well. That the one that's closest to us is going to be the larger one. And then it's going to diminish as what we're looking at here is the paw is rounded, and as it goes around, we're losing part of that paw. And here, this is kind of like straight on here, so we can just put it like that. In cartoons, it's nice to put this little kind of extra line, kind of gives the feeling that there's like a little bit of tension and overlapping of the fold there. We can, as long as we're here, why don't we establish what you seated on, and that way we can just put the tail on. So again, I want to get this big rock shape coming around like that. And then we're going to see a little bit of the top plane where he is seated. So I want to emphasize that. So just get it. So we have, this is all the top of the rock. And then again, let's go in and just put the tail on. And the tail, again, it's funny how it's constructed. And like I said, we're going to go in and clean up the whole drawing. But it's okay if your drawing is a little sketchy at first, because we're just kind of figuring things out. That's why we have to do that. Okay, so here, where the tail is connected, it's really thickest. So I'm going to pull this around here. And then it makes, as it comes toward us, it's going to get a little bit thinner. Now, a good check here is you have this like negative shape in here. So that's a good check to make sure you're getting the distance and the shape you need and giving that feeling that it's wrapping around. And then it pulls down like this. So it actually would be like if I was drawing that, it's going to be a little bit thinner, but then it's going to get its thinnest here because gravity is pulling it. So it kind of has to have that kind of taunt pull like that. And then we can just put like a, for now, a teardrop shape where our fur is going to go on the tail. So in a basic lay-in, this is where we are for the entire figure. And that's always a good place to start because you want to lay in the entire thing before you start really doing a lot of the details. So we can also go in and I can put in the other rocks as they're coming around like that. And again, it creates this funny pose because you've got this precarious rock sitting on top supported by smaller rocks. So it just makes a funny image. We're just trying to be kind of cartoony and fun. Okay, so let's look at his head. So his head, like I say, we're turning the head this way. It's not a straight on head. If this was a straight on head, of course, we'd be looking at it, you know, we'd have the head shape, the nose shape, and then we'd have the front like that, and then we'd have the eyes on each side. But we're not quite doing that. We have a little bit more of a turn to that head. I'm kind of going to de-emphasize this for the moment, even though we need it. Okay, so as this is turning here, I want to create, it's almost like a little bit of a, again, like almost like a mountain shape that's kind of off kilter a little bit, kind of like something like that. So that would look something like this. And again, we are going down the center of that. But remember, all of this is in the upper quadrant of that mane. So that detail, look at the distance between the top of the head and our middle quadrant there for that whole part. Then we're going to come and emphasize this falling part here, which is coming down. And then this is all in the upper quadrant, and all this is coming down. So my chin, I'm going to break the chin off into another shape. And look at the distance where that chin needs to be from where the leg of the lion is. So as a rough drawing, it looks something like that. Very odd, but it's going to come around again in these three shapes. It's kind of coming through like that. But I'm still emphasizing the center line coming through there because the head is turning away. Okay, so let me go. I'm going to turn up the opacity. Okay, so now let's go in here in the upper part and see what we could do. I'm going to take that down so you can see. Okay, so we could at this juncture, we could add the ears. Why don't we do that just so we have them? So from the center of where we are here, the ears are kind of coming out. You know, they have a gesture as well, like that. So they're pulling out this way from the center of the nose. Our nose is right here, so the ears are coming out like that. But you can see where we've emphasized the head, there's a little bit of a space here, and the ears would have a shape like that, and they're breaking out of the mane. This one is thicker than this one. Again, this is going away from us, so, and it's a little bit turned away from us, so it's something like that. So that's kind of how the ears would look on the top of that head. All right, so we have our basic drawing. Oh, we have to put, oh, we didn't put the nose in. I mean the muzzle. Okay, so again, from the top of the head, we're going to come in here, and then there's this little shape for his nose coming in like that, and then we have the dark part of it coming in like that. So again, my drawing now that we set up the entire thing, looks like that. Really sketchy, without a lot of detail on it. So now the fun part is, again, coming in there and detailing it out. So just to review, we have the ears, you know, coming out at an angle like that. We have the head turned. We have, if you analyze like in this whole upper quadrant, the shapes we have in it look like this. So just to keep them in proportion, he looks something like that. Oops. That's sort of that whole upper portion before we get to the lower portion. And then the lower portion of this would be pulling down into this in another layer so you can see it here. And then I'm just going to continue this coming down. It's going to look broken when I turn all the layers off. But this is kind of what that lower portion looks like. So if I turn that on with the top portion, those are how the whole drawing is broken down for the head. That. Okay, so let's go back, and now we can just start detailing the whole thing out. So let me bring my drawing back, and I'm going to go in tighter so we can kind of do our drawing. And again, turn the opacity down on just about everything. So we're just sort of going to be taking the rough drawings. And I don't want to interfere too much with your understanding of what we're looking at. So I'm going to take it down a lot. Okay, so now let's go in and draw this thing. So again, I want to come in and put in the head, put in more of that shape. So I'm going to just go over what I've done before and just kind of solidify everything like that. So I'm putting that in, giving them a little bit of fur on the side, and I'm outlining that whole big shape there. Coming down, I've got that nose shape. I'm going to put in a couple of little wrinkles there. And I'm going to, again, emphasize that shape we did for the nose. As a construction, this is coming forward again. And then this has a little bit of a curve to it. And then the shape itself is broken in to something that. Let me get the whole part of it there. When we look at the eyes, I'm looking at where the eyes are going to be seated in the head. And it looks like they're below the top of the bottom of it are below the nose. So I need a construction line there like that. And it's very wide here. Also notice how this eye is slightly larger than that one, mainly because this eye is going away from us. So I'm going to put in just a little shape for the eye, a little shape for the eye like that. And then put in the pupil looking up. And then he has very heavy, dark eyebrows. So I'm going to get those in like that. And he's got a couple of wrinkles there. And you could always come in on the head if you want to come in and give him a little bit more fur. Top there. Okay, so now in that shape we did coming down from the muzzle where the nose is, we're going to work our way down to this sort of nice shape of the mouth. And then the chin is pulling out a little bit. And then we're just going to add a little bit of those little indication of fur. Yeah. So our head is looking something like that. Just to solidify it, I'll put the color of the pupils. And then he's got his little where the whiskers are coming out. So we can always add a few lines like this. And the whiskers are always at an arc, how they come out. So they start in the middle and they're always kind of flailing out like that. And these would be a little bit shorter because again, they're on the other side of his head. And then like we established before, I'm just going to come in where the ears are coming out. And they too have a little bit of fur on the end of them. And I'm going to put the center line in. This one is coming out here like that. And then we can come in and put in the mane. So he's got, I think he's got some sort of little indication of fur. This looks like a crown on his head. But then when we get into the mane itself, we can just kind of fluffy it up. Yeah. And then this has a strong pull down. And this is that part that was coming out before. Remember, we created this little bulge on the side of his head. And then I can continue with this coming down and break it there. And again, these have just to indicate the pull of the mane and the fur coming down like that. So my head looks something like that. Pretty good. And then later on, I could come in and give it like a nice cleaner line before I color it. And depending on how you want to color it, you could do this on watercolor paper or regular paper to do this colored pencil. Okay, let's go down and just finish up the body. And again, we came in here for the paw. I'm just going to pull this out. And go over. Remember, we had that drawing off the side here for this one. Well, it's coming again this way, coming down. Very narrow in here, and then it kind of gets larger here at the bottom. This one's in front Remember, we have the construction line, but that's under the main, so you can erase all of that and just make sure it looks like it is. I just wanted to emphasize that it's not detached from the body. We have to kind of understand where it's coming from. So that's why I did the whole construction, even though we don't see it. And then the pause, and then like that. And we could add a little bit of color separation here. I know we went a little bit to pause, so I see there's a little indication there, so you could do that there in the front. And then, okay, so now the body, we've got this little pinch of fur. And then again, I'm going to pull up his back and pull it around like that. And have that little kind of mountain going in that direction coming through here like this. And then the paw of the back leg, it reaches a high point and then it kind of tapers down to where the toes are. So this toe is in front, this toe is in front, this toe is in back. And then we have his haunch there. And then, like I said, we have the lion tail coming through like that. And then we'll have a little bit of fur on the tail. And then we just have to set up the rocks a little bit. And they have a little bit of broken pieces here. Coming in, coming around, and creating this big piece of rock. And add a little bit of cracks in it if you want to. And then again, to be funny, they created like this really kind of vulnerable situation where he's up on a big rock supported by little rocks. And so the drawing so far looks something. And then at the top, like I said, there was like he's reacting to like some sort of little butterfly up there. So why don't we come in and let's just do that. You can do whatever you want. You could do a bird or you could do a butterfly. The butterfly is funny because of the scale. So again, we have like this wing, and we have a little design, and the wing on the other side. And then they have a simple shape for just the body of the butterfly. And then you have like the antenna coming up like that. So it's something like that. And then they offer, we should add some motion lines, it's line across like that. But you can tell any story you want if you have some other thing you want him looking at, like a bird or some sort of other animal jumping. You could take it your own way, however you want to. But that's pretty much how I would break down that line drawing. And then you can come in and just embellish it. If you want, you could always add clouds if you wanted to. In the background, if you wanted to add a few more rocks or something. Or some jungle trees or something. You can just embellish it any way you want to. So that's the line drawing. And like I say, you have the original now. Like I say, you want to take a screenshot just so you have it as a reference. So please do take a photo of it, or you can get it from the school. They can print it out for you.